Alright, and welcome back to another episode of Fun with Trees. This is a Ficus Microcarpa. I don't think I've done anything to this in about 2 years other than maybe an occasional, snip here and there. Every now and again I do walk around with some small pruners and just kind of nip off some branches that might be getting out of hand on all my trees, but no heavy work for a couple years. And it is developing quite nicely compared to what it was. I think I was really overworking several of my trees, and then some of them, like this one here, I just really needed to kind of let it gain a little maturity where it was. I am going to take off the sacrifice branch today, but I did want to show you guys a couple things here real quick. Thing's got some amazing looking figs growing on it. It's in some nice tight clusters. I do believe these are fertilized. Usually, see how big that one is right there. Usually they'll turn black and fall off. That's what makes me think they got fertilized, and they stayed on. And they stayed on all winter too. Think about it, this is just the end of our winter here and how healthy this plant looks. Just a few of my microcarpa are almost bare out there. Most of them look good all winter. You can see, even though, even this one here is this one is one of the healthiest looking ones, especially out of the smaller groups. But you can also see there's plenty of yellow leaves in there. It's hitting its big growth spurt right now. So, just losing a few older leaves in favor of growing some newer ones. I did mention I've been growing the sacrifice branch. I've had it on there almost, pretty much the entire time. And I think it's time to go. At one point I was thinking, like, they're getting so long and lanky, maybe I can make it part of the design of the tree. But it really is just so close. To have all that movement and everything, I'd have to have just a really big long branch there. And I have a thick enough trunk as it is. I don't really have to make it any thicker. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take that guy off. That may root with very little effort. I have so many microcarpa that are, so much even thicker than this. I don't know if it's worth it or not. I might try it though. All right, in hindsight, I wish I would have maybe even just left all the growth on the apex. I knew that this scar was going to take a long time to heal. You can see how thick this was. This part was a cutting, but this arrowroot came with it, and I used it for not only stability, but that was all the roots were still on there, almost just like that little sacrifice that I just took off. This branch right here is not, it's healing the apex more than the apex is, but that's not even what I have in mind for this one. I want it to be the branch this way, and then the apex is just growing so far off there, it's going to take a lot of healing tissue to heal that up. Like I said, kind of wish I would have just left that whole area alone, but I am going to just cut those down a little more uniformly. There's even a little bud coming out there of that one already, just from where it was getting ready to grow because it's springtime now. These two, I'll get some wire on, probably clip the ends off after I get the wire on, just trying to see where it places the ends when I do wire it up. And then see what the best angle that you guys might be able to see this guy on. It's the bigger branch here, coming off the other side of the apex. And that is coming right up off the middle of it. Take that one off. These two are coming out of the trunk at the same place. I think I had left that on there just for some extra growth for healing, but it is out of place. And then this one's growing back in, kind of like into itself a little. I think I'll go ahead and get some wire on that one like that. Take this protruding piece off there, shorten that guy up just a little bit. I'll wind up doing a little less wire than I thought, but let's go ahead and see what we got. My thought process here is basically early spring for us here. I'll have to get in and check this wire periodically. I've got it on there pretty good. And when I do, I'll have to be defoliating that. And if I have no wire on the apex, I can just let that go as I kind of check down here. Eventually, when I go to have to take this off, I'll take it off. Probably have to not completely defoliate, but you know, cut off enough leaves where I can get it there and get the wire off. And then again, I can just kind of leave that continually grow. And then maybe this time next year, get in here and kind of do the same thing again and have a little bit more to work with up here. And perhaps even, I mean, here's that wound I'm trying to heal. You can see that this branch is doing more to it than the apex is. And it's just because the apex really kind of grew off to the side there somewhat instead of coming more towards me this way. And then you can see it's got some moss up against the base here. I'm not completely against having moss on a tree, but I don't want it right on the base either. If it was, when I say on a tree, I don't mind having it on the substrate. So I'm going to just try to pull it off the trunk a little. And if I thought it was a big problem for this tree, I'd remove it. But I think whatever I pull off, I'm just going to leave the spores out here on the normal soil, or the soil, say, away from the trunk, if you will. And if it takes, it takes. If it doesn't, no great loss. I just don't really want it right on the trunk. Alrighty, and here we are 2 months later. That first part of the video was the beginning of February, and here we are. It's like April 5th or 6th. At this point, usually I'll come in and just kind of take off some of the straight up and straight down growth. And because it's so young, it just comes right off. My last couple of videos, I think I've been saying, I've been trying to have a little more patience and actually just hang on to the video and kind of show what it looks like there, so I'm not ending everyone with just a bare tree. You see all that growth, like even right here, just coming right out of there. Kind of rather keep it out at the branches. I mean, sometimes you want back budding, but you don't want it everywhere up on the trunk. And some of this growth here, it's all coming out of the spot. Barely even see where that Sacrifice branch was there. We'll have to show you guys too, the cutting I took lived. That piece of the sacrifice branch, because it had a little aerial root that was going in here. When I cut it off, I was able to take that out, and I just plopped that into a pot, and it survived. I just remembered I'll have to grab that, include that at the very end here. And right here, very apex, just a little bit of dieback. And since I don't have any wire here, I think I mentioned it in the first part of the video too, just a big cluster of growth right here for now. I did take out some of the downward growth, but I'm not going to try to dig it in there at all. There's no wire for me to watch. And like I said, here in probably, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 months, I'll probably have to get in here and take the wire off. And I'll partially defoliate, get that wire out of there, and just continue to let that go. Try to let the apex go enough to try to get a little bit better healing going on there in the apex. But all in all, I think over time this will really turn out nice. Really now it's just about giving it enough time to go ahead and heal that big chop. But I'd like to keep some movement. Alright, and then as promised, here is the cutting. I'm not sure that's what I need is another small microcarpa cutting, but what the hell, I made it, so I'm going to try to do something with it. I chopped, this was the sacrifice branch, and I chopped it back to here and here, which was basically one branch left on this one with leaves, and this one branch left on this one. I defoliated it almost all the way, and now you can even see that on the bigger branch here, oh, I didn't realize how much my hand was in the way there, but on the bigger branch here, you can see it's even got some back budding on it. I mean, that's on the cutting already in just 2 months. Growing conditions I have down here really are good for these things. I can already pick it up by the cutting.